Hello, hello. Honors English. This is probably going to be my last significant actual instructional video. Since from here on out, we're just going to kind of be finishing up To Kill a Mockingbird and regular routine grammar and vocab type stuff. This thing on? Yep. Okay, good. That'd be a shame if I recorded this whole thing and you couldn't hear me. So I'm just going to talk through the entire final draft assignment and show you a few things that you should hopefully be looking at anyway, but I'm going to show you a model along the way for certain things, especially MLA formatting, because as I show you on the assignment posts that you're looking at now, or maybe already looked at, I want to show you how to finish teaching you how to write a quality paper, but also to make it look formally correct. Okay, make myself a little bit larger here. All right, so here's the assignment post. Please review the rubric built into this post. That's down here, right? As well as all the attached documents, especially the video to review the rubric, which you are, of course, watching right now. So meta. I want you guys to leave my class knowing how to write a quality paper, but also how to make it look formally correct. As I said, as this is the end of the year, and this is Honors English, there will be a 10% penalty per day, per class day at least, attached to this. Okay, it's time to return to a realistic reality as we look forward to next year, especially if you're staying in honors, but regardless, show me that you deserve to be in here and that you deserve to be in Honors English too, and get this thing done on time. I don't want a bunch of soap operas at the end of the year and having to talk to families and difficult, awkward conversations that I don't want to have, that your parents don't want to have, and that you don't want to be happening. Get this thing done, okay? Don't give up. I know you can do it. All right, it is due. Not by midnight, but by sometime on Thursday night. If you want to put yourself through staying up half the night, that's up to you. But I hope you start on it now and ask me any relevant questions that you need answered. Okay, so notice you'll see the video on here, of course, but you're watching that already. But there's also, I re-put up again the character analysis opening devices document because some of you still weren't quite getting that on the outline. And so I just kind of dredged that back up in case you kind of lost track of where it is. And then also the integrating quotes document, which was on the materials post originally, pop that up here. So we want to make sure, I have it in the rubric, but just to go ahead and show you this, we want to make sure that your quotes are not sitting by themselves, okay? Even if you have them in quotes, you can use them at the beginning of a sentence and kind of flow out of it. You can use a quote at the end of a sentence by flowing into it with your own writing. You can use a quote in the middle of a sentence, especially if it's kind of a small phrase like that. You can use a broken quote, right, where you kind of fill in the gaps. You can use ellipses to delete or condense information. And some of you guys need to use those numbers 4 and 5 because you have quotes that are like, I don't know, 6, 7 sentences long, like a full paragraph. We don't need to have that in this paper. It makes it look like that you're trying to make your paper look long when it's really just a bunch of quotes and you're writing a few sentences. So maybe you're not doing that, but still, it's just kind of bad style. Okay, so you can always paraphrase part of what a quote is attached to, or you can use one of these techniques. Ending your sentence while introducing a quote with a colon. So notice there, with that grammatically, you want to use a quote if you're kind of end stopping a sentence and then saying, here's the quote. Otherwise, depending on the grammar, you would put nothing leading into it, or maybe sometimes if you're saying the author writes, and then you would put a comma and start your thing. So make sure you get the spacing and the punctuation right. You don't have to rely on this video. You can look at this document. There should not be extra spaces, for instance, between the end of a word and then the quote. Neither should there be any space or an extra space in between the opening quote and the first word. Okay, punctuation like a comma at the end of something would always go inside the quote and again pressed against it. And you can see your parenthetical references here, which is exactly how they should look. Just a number. Okay, you finish the sentence, then the parenthetical reference, then the period. Okay. Same thing if it's a quote at the end. You finish the quote, no punctuation, one space, number in parentheses, then the period. It is all as it appears on that document. So I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Before I get more sidetracked, let me get going through this rubric here, and that will pretty much cover everything. All right, opening up the rubric. So the introduction has an opening device to create interest, not just announcing the topic. If you're just saying, Winston is a character in 1984 who doesn't know, that's boring, okay? No offense, it's not incorrect. He is a character in 1984, but you want something more indirect, okay? I'm not going to go through all the opening devices again. We've been doing that since we started writing this paper, and we've done similar things on other papers, okay? You want more of a general concept, maybe a quote, that would work, but not just kind of summarizing what you're already going to say in your thesis, okay? And then the thesis is arguable, right? It's not just totally obvious. It requires defense, but then it proves it and introduces a blueprint of 3 supporting points. Okay, it's not just a general statement of the 3 supporting points. Of course, preview your 3 body paragraphs. Let's take a look at that model here just to see. Well, no, we've talked enough about that. Back to the rubric. Okay, next thing, body paragraphs. 3 body paragraphs correspond with, as in the 3 things that the body paragraphs do are in the same order and match, maybe not word for word, but recognizably enough, the 3 points in your thesis that the paper feels predictable. You know, the reader knows what you're going to do next because of the thesis. They are organized and analytical. They contain multiple relevant quotes that support points. Quotes are woven into the writer's sentences rather than standing alone. And you're following that pattern of topic sentence, introduce a point with context, give the quote with the parenthetical reference, and then comment on it, hopefully with more than just one short sentence, hopefully like 2 or 3 sentences. You want to analyze, right? Not just, it should be more than just the outline. Don't just copy and paste your outline together. Conclusion begins with a properly restated thesis and then ends effectively with a closing device, which could be a new strategy or touching back on the opening device. Okay, parenthetical references are present after all quotes and contain correct information, which in this case is just a page number. You don't have to put the word PAGE, you don't have to put PG, you don't have to put P, you don't have to put 1984, P, number, just a number. That's it. And no matter how many times I say this, I'm going to get a half a dozen papers that have a whole bunch of crap in there instead of just a number. It's crazy. Happens every year. I challenge you to be the first class where everybody does the parenthetical references correctly, since all you have to do is put a number in there. I'm going to get back to you guys on this. I'm going to see if you do it. We'll see. But please note, any paper without parenthetical references, automatic 50, not even going to grade it, okay? I'd rather have to grade 46 papers or whatever it is, then not have to grade half of them because they don't have parenthetical references. I would rather you guys do well, okay? But if they're not there, that's it, I'm done, okay? MLA format, paper heading and paragraphs are properly MLA formatted. See attachment on this post. Let's visit that. I haven't posted in this video yet, but it will be there by the time I post this video. And that is, there we go. Okay, so here's a model paper from last year. I'm not gonna look at all aspects of that, but let's look at what it looks like, okay? Make your paper look nice, make it look formal. Top left, you don't need to use the header, that kind of confuses things, okay? I would just use the regular part of the text on the page of the document. Left side, we got the student name, my name, please spell my name correctly, English 1 honors, and then that's how you do that kind of military style of date and use the appropriate date of turn-in. Top right is the type of paper, okay? Character analysis, those 2 words, capitalized. Centered, 1 double space down, notice all this is double spaced, is your title that you have given your paper. We haven't dealt with that yet because we're only in the outline stage, okay? The title of your paper is not 1984 or Of Mice and Men, okay? I would also appreciate it if it has a more clever title than Lenny or Lenny character analysis. Make it a nice, clever turn of phrase, right? Maybe something touching on your opening device. Impact of change, the student writes here, okay? That's good. All right, other MLA formatting things. That just means how your paper is supposed to look. The paragraphs are indented, okay? There is 1 tab at the beginning of each paragraph. Just use the tab key. You don't sit there and hit the space bar like 8 times. It is double spaced. And then when you go to the next paragraph, you do not put an extra double space between them. That is what the tab is for. We've talked about this on and off all year, okay? Throughout the paper, no extra spaces. Just because you come to the end of your body paragraphs, you're starting your conclusion, you don't have to put more space than usual, okay? I've already talked about the punctuation involved with quotes. Make sure you do that. Also, if you have dialogue in your quotes, then single quotes go around the dialogue part while the double quotes go around the very beginning and the very end of the portion of the book that you're quoting. Okay, so there's that. And we don't have any works cited here, okay? You don't have to put, all you're writing about is your novel. You don't have multiple outside sources, so you don't have to make a works cited page. And I'm not really worried about page numbers, in the age of Google Classroom for everything. It's just not really the same, okay? So you just keep writing. But again, I could say till I'm blue in the face, I know people are gonna put an extra space in between the paragraph for some reason, even though I'm showing you exactly what this looks like now. But again, be the first class to prove me wrong, okay? All right, back to the rubric. So that's MLA, paper heading and paragraphs are formatted properly. On to transitions. Paper contains transitions and topic sentences and other appropriate places to create good flow. I do have a document attached to here. Oh, no, I don't, but I will soon. You guys know what transitions are. In other words, you want to have appropriate transitions at the beginnings of body paragraphs, especially the second and the third. Okay. Furthermore, consequently, and then maybe in the middle of a paragraph, you're changing topics. You might say something like conversely or surprisingly, you know, various adverbs like that to make your paper flow. Don't just be subject, verb, object, subject, verb, object, subject, verb, object. And along the same lines, grammatically, since we've learned what they are, let's make sure that we have a good variety of simple sentences, compound sentences, complex sentences, and compound complex sentences. Anyway, there will be an attachment giving you a word bank of transitions, just to give you some ideas. And finally, grammar. So the paper is written in good, complete sentences, you know, variety, uses appropriate punctuation and capitalization. Present tense is used to describe the events of the novel. I pointed that out in a lot of people's, but probably not everyone's outline. If there was other major important stuff to talk about, I might not have gotten down to that many details, but we don't say that Winston was captured, okay? We say Winston is captured, okay? We don't say that Lenny died, even though it's the end of the book, we say Lenny dies. George shoots Lenny out of a sense of mercy, okay? And the reason for that, I mentioned this before, but is that a novel is fiction, right? It didn't happen. Like, it's not history. Even if it's historical, it's a novel, right? The characters are made up. So when does it happen? It happens every time somebody reads it. Think of it that way, okay? So when you read it, it's happening. And that is the way that society has decided to write about fiction. Okay, so present tense. Also, avoid using first person, which is I, me, we, you, when you're talking about the book. Shouldn't say anything like, I believe, I think that this means, nope, assert it as if it's fact when what you're doing is asserting yourself in third person with your position on analysis, right? What Orwell means to say here is that, okay, so you're making it sound like it's fact, but you're really just asserting yourself. Because I, me, we, that sounds more like a speech, right? It sounds like I think that. It sounds like you're talking about it, okay? So it's not wrong for conversation or maybe a reader's log, right? But for a formal paper, okay, you just want to keep it in third person. By the same token, second person point of view, okay? When you read this book, no, 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 don't do that, okay? No, you should never use you in a formal paper. And we talked about this with the argumentative, okay? Instead, uses the reader or readers or one, or if you're applying it to society, you might say people, like if you're making a generalization in your opening device or something like that, or other third person terms, okay? And if anybody has any trouble understanding that, then please communicate with me in class or otherwise, and we can talk through it. Okay, I think that is it. I'm happy to conference with you guys Wednesday or Thursday. We do have 2 live bells left before this is due on Thursday night. And remember, it needs to be on time to get full credit for the grade that you earn, okay? I'll be attaching the transitions and obviously this video. Pause, getting my screen back. Okay, get to it. See you soon.